So welcome back. Woohoo! I hope everyone else's summer was slightly less dramatic than Alex DePillis's, which sounded very dramatic. Uh, and we may have some new participants where we are being joined, at least in spirit, by or like that sounds more ghostly than I intended. In whatever. We have a new US based researcher, Kartik Chandan, who may or may not make the actual meeting, but he is sending us interesting research he's doing on a smaller scale about stopping and starting digesters. So that's fun. So if he shows up, we'll have to put him on the spot and make him talk to us. But if he doesn't, we'll just get him onto the IARPIC site so those article references can be more accessible to everybody. Lynn, you want to talk about the conference?
Hey, does anyone know if Robin's gonna join us?
I think he's on vacation, right? Isn't he on long overdue vacation?
Yeah, he's a better person to talk about it. But right, so we did receive that funding from
NATO.
I was gonna say, I mean, I've been writing this thing about like that with NOAA and some other acronyms, and I was like, okay, it's not right, it's not NOAA. Anyway, so NATO, and we are going to be holding a meeting workshop. It's the first week in March. I think everyone got that announcement. If you didn't, let me know. I can forward it. Planning wise, looks like Sarah's on with it should be hosted by at NREL. I think we are going forward with probably reserving a block of rooms at that Westmark, but I think we do need to Fatima and Sarah, I don't know, you can maybe chime in, but I think we do. I mean, we had looked at rooms prior to this, and it looked like Westmark might have somewhat the best deal for hotels that were, you know, in Fairbanks, and it does have conference room availability because we'll need a place to meet after hours as well. So that's kind of going forward. We haven't reserved a room block of rooms yet, but we will. And we hope to, I know people are supposed to let Robin know their availability, and I don't know where that is at. Who we have actually let me know is coming. Anyone that has availability of potential for additional funds would be, I highly encourage you to look for those. It would be great. I know that, for example, Jaime is not going to be able to join us under NATO funds. He needs travel funding. So we do need to still fund him somehow. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, he's got to be there.
He has to be there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the priority for funding. I mean, I don't know how much it costs to.
Has he? Yeah. Does he have an? So does he needs travel and presumably hotel and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, he needs basically the airfare and hotel per diem, I guess. So yeah, I need to get back to him to get his estimate of cost. I assume it'd be not a lot. I mean, a few $1,000s kind of thing, right? So, but we do need to try to figure out how to fund that. And other than that, I mean, I think Robin's been really great at he's been the secretary, as it were, for Percy and I. Our organization was the awardee. That's all. That's my summary. If people have questions that are more detailed about about the conference, let me know.
And Lynn, I have what Robin sent, and he noted to please, for folks to fill out the form and return no later than the 1st of October, just as a reminder.
There we go. Yeah, and there he is. Speaking of, how much money do you
Talking
need?
about how to get you money, Jaime, so
Yeah.
that you could come to Alaska.
I just mentioned that where you need to find funding for you, but how much do you think that would be? You're on, but you're on mute. Yeah, you. But take yourself off mute. You're on mute.
Still on mute.
Can't hear you.
Okay, sorry, now, sorry. I didn't listen the question. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, how much do you think it will cost to fund your?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look for it in internet. Give me just 2 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Which one should be the airport in Alaska to arrive?
Fairbanks.
No, it's changed to March. What's the date? Let me see.
4th, I think.
March 4th.
Yeah, 4th through 7th.
7th.
Yeah, we changed it.
And it's Fairbanks.
Fairbanks, correct.
Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to work, we're going to be working with, technically I have a communications person for the digester project, and hoping that person can help me come up with something that looks nice for distribution, broader distribution. And so if people have thoughts and suggestions about, where there may be pockets of people we would like to pull in, and that to me is one way to start, maybe getting some additional funding as well as additional people, but being able to be like, woo, don't you want to be associated with this? Put some money in.
Yeah, and I was gonna say we need to make sure we outreach to folks in the state that would be interested as well. So see John and Kristen on there and Jasmine. So there you go.
Sorry, I'm not clear on the ask or the activity in the ask, but maybe if you email us, I can look at that and see if I can, to whom I can reach out and connect, who might be good for you to connect with from my network. Or maybe it's not even relevant. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Totally relevant.
At this point, we're trying to get a list of who we think is going to come, and then look at our budget, which is not it's not a large budget by any means. So we need, we're looking for additional funding, and particularly for Jaime. And were you able to find the airfare? Jaime?
Okay, I see that this around the first try I have done it in a web page is around $1,000.
Oh, that's pretty. That's less
Should be
than I
something
thought.
more.
Yeah, if he buys it
1,500.
now, I mean, but that's like if he buys it in February, it's probably going to be 2,500, right? Like we are still pretty far out. It's gonna. So, I'm just guessing, right? The closer we get to the date, the more expensive the ticket's going to be.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're looking for that level of funding, at least for him. We know we'll need that.
Yeah.
So euros. Okay, so that euros. So
I think it should be something like $2,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
couple thousand.
So this is Kristen at the Denali Commission. So we are looking at our end of year, the little bits of money we have left. So if Lynn, you have, I think the email that the other person mentioned about kind of the overall, like sort of the overall funding picture and what the need is. And if it's on the, it sounds like this is probably on the order of $4,000 or something by the time you include the hotel and per diem and stuff. At least we can take a look at that. I don't know what we'll be able to do, but we can also shop it around a little. But even a $4,000 like placeholder, whatever you think is appropriate is fine for now. For us to think about.
Yeah, I'll send you that information, and because certainly Jaime's participation is quite central to us all meeting. Yeah, big piece, and that'd be great. And I think that's really kind of it. Just anyone here that hasn't provided their information back to Robin, please do so. And also, if you know someone that you think really should be at this meeting, make sure that they get that information as well. We want to, yeah.
So Jaime, I also got an email from Lily, and I know you and she are collaborate. And is she going to be in the same position of not being able to get funding from NATO? Do we need to also look for her as well? I haven't talked to her about that.
For Liliana Castro.
Yeah.
I don't know how is her schedule. I have to talk with her. I can ask in this moment to her.
I know she sent the form to Robin because she really wanted to come. She wanted to participate, but I don't know if I just want to make sure that if she needs also additional funding, then we have her on the roster.
She should be okay. Again, it kind of depends on how many people we have.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know what the prohibitions are for different universities, for different funds, right? So I just want to.
And she was already considered in the first team that was going with the NATO funding. Yeah. Okay. I am just asking to her if she will be able to go.
So,
and what about Jaime's?
Oh, he's right here.
He's right here.
Okay.
Perfect timing.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I guess you're
Jaime, you are
about...
able to go to Alaska in March?
Yes, for sure. Actually, I answered to Thomas, the email, confirm that we can assist in those dates. So they are perfect for us, for Liliana and for me. So I hope we can meet there.
And we are still talking about March dates, right? It changed from,
yes, the dates are perfect for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Sarah, where are we at with our deadlines for what you guys need?
For participants?
Yeah.
I thought, okay, so when you said you're gonna book the Westmark, does that mean it's still like daily at NREL and then night? Okay, so we just need 1 month in advance, a list of participants, that's all. The process is really simple. You send me a list, I'll be the host, and I'll key in your name, email, and like nationality, and everything else is on the participants end. So there'll be an automated process and someone internally will review them, and that's all.
Okay. And for folks who don't know, Sarah's from NREL / cold climate housing. Formerly known as, right?
Formerly known, yeah. They're now their own nonprofit. We, like, the staff have all been absorbed into NREL. We're still in the same building, but they're also a nonprofit. It's very confusing.
It's super confusing. Cool. Great. And then Jasmine, are you going to be able to join? Do you think?
Yes, I turned in my paperwork.
Okay, cool.
But yes, I'm really excited for the conference. Looking forward to it.
That's great. And John, are you?
Mike Marcarell will likely be joining, and it shouldn't be an issue for us either way.
Oh, great. That's great. And then I guess Alex, are you planning on coming? No.
Hi.
Oscar.
I guess I need to know more about it. I haven't been keeping track, so it's a little hard for me to even organize it in my head. But yeah, potentially, I just don't know the parameters. So sorry, I haven't been as aware of what we're trying to do as I should be. But
No.
yeah, I just need to understand what the meeting is and more about it. Should I be looking at an email from somebody, or is there something I should have seen already?
I can send him the email if you want, Lynn, right now.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'll fill in a lot of blanks. Great. And I think that's kind of all we have for right now. People
For meeting planning, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if other people, so I'll share whatever sort of pretty version of the communication I get, and we could do it in Spanish as well as English. We definitely have that capacity. And if other people have other versions to pass around, that's good too. We are the federal government, so I'm hoping. Oh no, Sarah, quick! Can we get you telling us anything about the EPA money before I babble on about brochures?
No, I haven't received it. I have not received anything. It's supposed to clear out, so maybe November is when we're looking.
Is there okay? So is there anyone I need to call?
It's not you. It's the whole government process.
No, I know. But sometimes throwing a fit helps. But
it's end of year. Yeah, I'll push again today, see what we can do to close it. But from our FAs, money isn't here.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I like it, Margaret. I like it. It's good. Thanks for offering to pitch a fit.
Sorry, so Margaret, I'm kind of missing. I feel like I'm missing half a conversation, but where's the pilot at?
That's what we were just checking on. Sarah said that she needed the money by today to get it going, and I thought we had worked out all of the bumps because I joined forces with some other EPA people and pitched fits all summer, and it finally got through, but apparently it hasn't hit the bank account yet. It left us, but somehow is stuck between Cleveland and Fairbanks. So that's what I'm going to call around today and find out if there's anything we can do on our end to shove further, or if it's on the receiving end.
Once it hits the bank, where's that? I mean, how do you see the timeline going with the implementation of the pilot? I mean, where do you think it's going to be in relation to when the meeting is going to happen, I guess? What's our best guess?
Yeah, that's a Sarah question, unfortunately. That's why I'm using her last 2 minutes. Sarah, quick.
I mean, by March, we're hoping to have the design all ready, everything purchased and built inside. Unfortunately, it does mean that we cannot, we can't have it ready outside. The key season is gone. Summer is gone. It's really hard to build outside.
But
so,
yeah, at least we'll have something inside.
Yeah, and we do have within the NREL building itself, we have like a anaerobic digester that we're using, like a mini plant inside the building. You guys should see it. It's really cool. And also like a lot of the work we've done with tribal consortium, like ANTGC before, like the pass system. So all that is for display. that's still there.
I think another question we have, and I guess, I'm sorry, Margaret, to keep hammering on this, but I think we would also like, as soon as the money gets allocated, to start maybe having a subcomponent of this group meet for like design workshops, which could happen between now and March too. I just want to throw that back out there as something that we also would like to start as soon as possible. And what the potential for that is, and like what that looks like from NREL's and EPA's perspective.
Yeah, Margaret, we talked about this. And so we're not sure how this is going to play out, but we want everyone's design input. Like, I think, yeah, from NREL's perspective, from the team that we have, we're great with solar, we're great with building, we're great with tribal work. But then you guys are subject matter experts on digesters, and of course we want your input. Now, how does this look like though, in terms of the group arrangement? Do we meet once a month? We show our designs, you guys can pinpoint where it's going to go wrong, get it fixed, and then we come back another month, and then this whole, iterative input. Would that be something that's feasible?
I mean, I think that sounds feasible. I think that we've got, I mean, I don't remember the exact scope. I mean, I think like the project schedule, sort of like the design and the design iterative design piece, and where that, like how long that we have in the schedule to do that, I think is something that we kind of just need to all be aware of. Right. I mean, if we're in the winter and we can't build anything anyway, then that's maybe an advantage that we have, so that we can kind of get everything, those sort of design components and sensitivities and analyses done now.
Yes, but March is when I want like the whole digester placed outside. It's kind of a safety principle first. We want to test it when it's freezing outside. Before we input any waste materials inside. And so timeline wise, I would say November, December, January, February is the design phase. March is construction and placing outside phase. So does that, okay.
I think that makes sense.
So the meeting for the kind of, I would say, subcommittee or, group design group should be like I would think maybe in a couple weeks to start, or, as soon as, right? And it may be that design group kind of decides at that point the frequency of the meetings and when, kind of, and how long, because it doesn't, I don't think setting an artificial kind of monthly thing right now makes a lot of sense. And, it needs to be with the design process.
Yeah. And the design process, we wrote in our scope of work in our contract with EPA is that EPA has the final say on how the design look like. So that burden is on Margaret to okay it or not.
Yeah, and where's Nate? Nate's going to be part of this too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not on. So basically, and I'm not a design person. I'm not going to be part of the design person, but I do want to kind of get a sense of how this will align with the meeting too. So what we're waiting for is the money to hit the bank, and then maybe it's going to be a couple of weeks after that to get all settled financially, paper wise, and then it's maybe then that design group can go forward. Is that right?
Yes, I think we're right on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, truthfully, like speaking, my team's focus would be on the tribal aspect, adoption in rural communities, circular economy. We want to get things that we can get here in Fairbanks. A lot of like internal recommendations have been, you can purchase this from Germany, you can purchase this from Argentina. That's great. Great for Argentina, great for Germany, not great for rural Alaska. So that's where our focus has been. Make sure that we can construct it from items you can purchase here.
Yeah, that is the focus of this group as well. It's certainly my focus. Yeah, so it's
yeah, and also adoption, right? I mean, why can't this work somewhere? Because people don't take it and don't practice the technology. Technology has not been, have not has that care in the end user, and so that's, you can come up with the greatest design, but if people are not going to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, great. So Margaret and Embry, are you gonna kind of take care of that scheduling of, working with a smaller design team? But I guess it's somewhat of an opt-in, but I think we've already, somewhat identified the smaller team.
I think so too. And I mean, I think poor Margaret, I keep harassing her about it, but I mean, I really think that we can't really do anything until funding is settled, right? And so so I think we have people identified for design team work and people have self-identified to be on the design, but we're just not able to get there yet.
It sounds like it could be sounds like it could be as soon as a couple weeks. I mean, right? Maybe.
And I guess I should just. Oh, sorry, Sarah, you go.
This the way that I understand it. If we miss this window, processing from DOE won't occur until November.
And I just wanted to mention that part of the oddness of the situation is that I can't solicit free work from other people. That is inappropriate in my role. We welcome advice and thoughts, but I can't task anyone with anything. That there's some pretty clear guardrails on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll solicit for you.
Well,
I'll solicit on your behalf.
If you can solicit on behalf of research, that would be fine. Not on my behalf. On the
behalf of improving the
intellectual knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it is somewhat separate, the efforts of this group to that, develop something for rural Alaska. So maybe I'm just thinking that maybe the design team can meet.
Yeah. I'm just explaining that if it seems like I'm being a little weird, I am being a little weird because there are some things that I can do and things I can't do.
Yeah, we've all been there. Well, I haven't been there on the EPA side, but I've been there on the other side. Completely understand.
A couple of thoughts. As far as resources that are available in villages that are free, right? One of the things that they have plenty of right now is plastic 50-gallon chemical drums.
Mm-hmm.
The drums are sent and, with a, what am I trying to say? When you return them, you get a credit. And so but they're so expensive to return, they just keep the plastic barrels in the villages. And so there's an abundance of 50-gallon drums. I don't know if that could be used as a, conceptually as a base, for the design. Another thing too is DOT ships totes, and but I think for the airports, in many cases, I think that they probably ship those back empty, but there may be totes available as well. But from a conceptual design standpoint, those are a couple of resources that are out there and that are readily available and free, and a lot of them.
Right, there need to be a way, for sure, of getting rid of the chemical residue in the barrels.
John, sorry, it is 50 gallons or 15?
55, 55, right?
55.
Yeah.
Yeah,
55.
yeah, 55
Okay.
gallons. It's 50 plus or minus a little bit, but yeah, they've either had sodium hypochlorite or an organic polymer. I mean, generally, and then the totes, those are used for suppressing dust on the DOT roads and the airports, and so those containers are out there and available, and of course connexes. There's an abundance of those as well. And so, free resources, low cost, that can be easily modified, just something to think about.
Yeah, for most
And they are made with plastic or with metal?
there's both.
They're both, but mainly plastic in the chemical drums. The majority of those are
Okay.
plastic now.
And the shape, they are cylindrical or they are like a cube?
Cylindrical, but the totes are like cubes.
The
And
totes
so-
are cubes. They're like 200 gallon. Are like 200, 300 gallon totes, John? Like chemical totes or?
chemical totes, I
Yeah.
think they're about 500 gallons.
Okay.
Cubic meter, intermediate bulk container, 275 gallons.
That sounds about right.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
And then
I think
I would
the
also
IBC
add-
tank, is that what you're talking about, John?
Excuse me?
The IBC tanks? When you're saying tote, are you talking about the IBC tanks?
Well, it's what they ship out for the chemicals they use for dust suppression. They're in a metal cage. And
Yeah,
it's
so
plastic.
those are 150 gallons usually.
No, they're bigger than that. I think Alex is correct at 275. It's a large quantity.
there may also be what we call fish totes, and as well as I want to mention the super socks. That's thick HTP, they're a cubic yard. Thick HDPE plastic,
Yeah.
that are impermeable, used for shipping primarily things like sand or whatever, but those are available in at least some villages. Yeah.
That what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just checked. It's 330 gallons is the
Yeah.
Biggest.
official.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it right there.
That one says 275.
275. Yep.
I feel like they're usually 3, but
Yeah, it sounds like they vary. I just looked up chlorine and their totes are 330, but sounds like they're probably vary a little bit depending on what who's supplying it.
I didn't
So
see
now,
as much as in some villages as the drums. I mean, I would say the barrels that you brought up are more common in if you're going to look at across Alaska, that the barrels would be, but
yeah, but remember, it's not just the digester that we're building. We have to also think about a wide spot in the line ahead of it. I mean, there's potentially ancillary volumes around the digester itself that we want to consider too. So it would be nice to have a little kind of a mix of different receptacles to play with.
And one question, this is expected to be installed in this laboratory, but from where we are going to take the menu, the stuff? It's going to came from water toilet or from honey bucket, or from where it's going to be the stuff?
Poop?
Is it going to be connected to a toilet or?
I think, isn't the design right now, the proposed design right now, Margaret, is to use synthetic?
Yep.
Synthetic, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of animals there near this laboratory?
Yes, as in wild animals?
you mean like dog
Which animal
teeth
is that?
or
I mean, our campus gets a lot of moose all the time. But yeah,
And it's possible to collect the manure from these animals?
they're not going to be pooping a lot in Better hurry up.
There is also the large farm, a large animal research station still on campus. If some way they could collaborate in collecting that.
And some dog teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog sledders around Fairbanks.
And they do all year.
This discussion we had with Max was he wanted to use synthetic. There's a lot of reasons for that, I think, but
to work with synthetic manure is it's okay, it's more clean, but I think it's more realistic if we can work with some kind of manure. Could be dogs, that is they eat everything, so, or any other kind of animal. For us, usually we work with pigs because it's very similar, the manure from the pigs than from the humans. But if you have access to collect dogs, the manure from dogs, would be great to work with this manure, for example.
And you can see Jasmine. Jasmine, do you want to talk about your use?
Yeah, I've been getting my dog waste from TLC Kennels in Palmer, and it has been great in running my anaerobic digester. I don't have to feed it. Like right now, I'm just testing to see how long it can go without being fed. So I've only fed it about 40 pounds of dog waste, and it's been about 6 months, and it still has it's still doing really great. So I'm going to be feeding it here soon, with some more dog waste in about a couple of days. But yeah, it's been working great for me. My methane production has been awesome. I've been running my stove off of it. So yeah, I think dog waste is a great substrate.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
And one question, Jasmine, do you have experience with digesters there in Alaska?
I have.
She built one.
She's in Alaska.
Yeah, I'm in Alaska, and I have an anaerobic digester here out in Palmer, on the APU campus, and I'm kind of exploring bioelectrochemical anaerobic digestion, and I would love to share more about that and some research that I found regarding microaeration to improve the methane production for heat and electricity. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be going for my master's, is anaerobic digestion at KU. But I really love AD. So yes, I'm not a great expert, but I'm getting there. Student still.
And did you have shared your experience with the group before?
I have not shared any of my results with the group. No, not yet.
I have seen it.
Oh yeah,
At Jasmine presented at the One Health. It's supposed to present presentation at One Health, and so yeah, her research is great.
Yeah, I was gonna just say her where she's located, Palmer. So, it's south of Fairbanks. A few, I don't know, 250 miles south. It's near Anchorage.
Yeah, I would say so. It's in a really good spot. For testing when it gets cold in the wintertime. So I've been able to keep it heated off of aquarium heating probes and the seedling heating mats. But I wanted to try something else for the heating source. Kind of, I was thinking something like a the roof heating lines that you can use to get snow off of your roof, something like that to put inside of the digester. But
like heat trace?
Yeah.
Oh. Did you say you were going to do micro aeration?
Yeah, I'm looking into micro aeration with bioelectrochemical and anaerobic digestion sewage treatment, because micro aeration has been shown to increase the methane yield and be like really beneficial to the methanogenic archaea. So I have been really interested in looking at that. And past few days, actually, I've been reading a bunch of research on it. But it's
So
really,
we just finished a pilot for or a full scale pilot for anaerobic digesters using microaeration specifically for sulfur removal. I can send you the lit review that we did for that, and then also our results if you're interested.
yeah, that'd be great. That'd
Sure.
be great.
So speaking of that, I would love to see that for the group. I'm pretty familiar with the microaeration for hydrogen sulfide management.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see, Jasmine, your poster. Was that a poster, Sarah said? If you can share that, I'd be super interested in that as well. I also have a very interesting paper on nanobubble aeration, not necessarily to get the oxygen up to that micro 0.5% level or whatever, but for increased biogas production. So nanobubbles are coming on strong. I'll share that out to the group.
When we say we're sharing out to the group, are we posting all of this on IARPIC's website? I feel like we need to kind of shift to that being the default, because I'm losing track of emails. Can we, Jasmine, do you have access to that and you can post on there, right?
Yeah, I do have an account with that and I can post.
Okay, great.
All my stuff. And I do have I have a poster and PowerPoint of all kinds of information. Would love to share.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you want to present next month? Would that?
Yeah, I can do that. I'd love to.
Yay, let's do it.
So that the digester is one part. The second part of the experiment is using renewable energy, solar, to keep the digester running throughout the cold, or as much as we can. And so, Jaime, I think I've sent you some data about Fairbanks, in terms of, one of the, I think, presentation you did to our group about 4 or 5 months ago was why we use solar thermal arrays instead of, solar thermal blanket, for example, solar electric blanket from solar. And so our group actually started discussing it internally in NREL, and one of the things was it's harder to plumb for solar thermal arrays compared to using an insulating blanket. And so those are things that I want to consider when we're designing up here.
Okay. It's possible that Jasmine share with us the next meeting, her experience with I would like to see the digester that she's working with it.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I have pictures of it. And it's I actually bought my digester through Home Biogas, which is a company that sells systems.
I know which one it is.
Yeah, and the reason why I bought that actually is because I thought that it's really easy and really easy to operate, and it was fairly cheap for me to purchase. So I was just trying to show that it could work for an individual house. And the reason why I chose dog waste is because in rural communities, there are a lot of dogs. So it also comes with a toilet, which is really awesome. I would eventually like to start using the toilet, but I kind of have some restrictions with APU.
You got the full package Home Biogas system.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's cool.
And when did you install this digester?
It was last year. So now it's actually right now it's a year. So it's been a year in September.
So you have already have been working with the digester during the last winter.
Yeah, the last winter was actually when I started it, and I planned it that way so I can show that it can work in the winter. And where I have it, it doesn't have any source of heating. It's in a passive greenhouse. And it's interesting that Sarah just brought up insulating blanket, because my digester is actually surrounded by insulation blanket that I put inside of garbage bags and surrounded the entire digester with, and it's kept it really warm.
Okay. From where do you get the electricity for this blanket?
You're on mute.
Oh no, it's an insulation, it's not a heating blanket, it's just insulation
Insulation.
that I
Okay.
put inside of construction garbage
Okay, I
bags.
want to see pictures.
Yeah. I'll definitely, I have a PowerPoint and I can show everybody. I would love to actually.
Okay, and do you have are you measuring the amount of biogas that you are producing?
I have not been able to do that because of the resources that I have. Yeah, I have not been able to. I have tried quantifying it though by burning methane, and measure I've tried to quantify it. It's been a hard time though, but no, I have not.
I mean, we
Okay.
could have you present right now if you want.
Yeah, I could.
Every year on mute. Every year on mute.
I was gonna say, we don't want to put her on the spot unless she's.
I can present. Just give me 1 second.
I mean, that's number 5 on the agenda. Any new installations you wanted to tell us about? So, woo! Off we go.
I don't know if you can see now my.
How does your
my
computer
screen?
work with all
Yes.
those tabs open? Holy
This-
Moses.
Wait. We use this kind of flux thing to measure the biogas. So I don't know if it's able to buy one of these. It's very cheap. It's about $50, $60 here in Ecuador. And you can connect it to the biogas pipe and measure every day how much biogas you are producing. And it's very, very cheap.
Jasmine, did you see that? Try getting her stuff. You have to show that again when she gets back. Yeah, and so I just say Pacifics outside of Alaska understand too. So Palmer's a bit warmer than say the interior. And it's, you know, kind of bottom coldest temperatures are, I don't know, I'm going to just say offhand, maybe 30 degrees warmer than where it can get to in the interior. And, you know,
So
because
Fairbanks have about 2,000 heating degree day difference, to put that in perspective.
yeah. But there's, you know, there are plenty of communities that, you know, there are at least a good subset of communities that experience, you know, similar temperatures as well. Map of Alaska while we're waiting. Let's see.
I can comment that I have just finished my house. I have built a new house, and all the wastewater is going to a digester. The black water, the gray water is going to a wetland, and I am measuring how much biogas we produce in the family. And it has been since 7 days or 8 days, and more or less it's around 60 liters of biogas per day. So it's just few amounts, just
How many
60 liters
people?
of biogas. We are 4 people, but my children, my wife and me, but my children, they are all the morning in the school. I am in the office. So that is only a reference, no? But it's just a few amount of biogas.
So I have up on the screen where Palmer is in reference to the state of Alaska there, just so you guys know. And I think someone put in the chat, it's a couple 100 feet elevation as well.
Anchorage is warmer than Fairbanks.
Yeah, Yeah,
Okay.
we're like the banana belt, as they say in Alaska. It's yeah.
Lynn, if you go to South Side, I don't know if you went to like South Side, they're a gardening supply company, and they have a building in Wasilla. They actually have a living banana plant.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's warm.
Okay, yeah, so I can just go through this, see if I can. We are know all this. So this picture to the right is actually the
I didn't-
digester.
Wait, I didn't see anything. Do other
Oh.
people see something? I did see something and then it went black for me.
Okay, let me see. Let me try to show
Yeah,
you.
like it started off, you could see something and then all of a sudden it went black. You might have gone to a different screen or something.
Hmm. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. This is the home biogas 2. So this is the smallest one that they have. It's meant for about 2 to 3 people. They do have larger ones. But yeah, this is just the basic setup. It has an inlet right here at 1, and then the digester tank, which is just water, and then the substrate, which I use is dog feces, and then it has this gas tank and these little gray bags in this gas tank, which is below the number 5. Those are sandbags that will push the gas out when you open the valve for the gas stove. And then this one comes with liquid fertilizer, and then it also comes with like a carbon filter for hydrogen sulfide. Okay, so I just put it, starting from the left picture, I put it on a 5-inch insulation board that I bought from Lowe's. And then I put it inside of this 10 by 10 foot grow house because, like I said before, the greenhouse is passive, so it didn't have any heating. So this is my way of trying to just maintain that heat because the digester does also produce heat itself. Starting from the top, you can see I put 3 seedling heating mats. I actually ended up adding 2 more, but I took them off because I felt like it was just too much. So right now the digester does have the 3 seedling mats underneath it. And then this is the second picture is just putting water in it, 317 gallons. The third picture is us putting the sandbags in. And then this right here is the exact heater that I used, the titanium aquarium probes. And then as you can see these bags around the digester, that's the insulation blanket that I made out of the garbage bags. And it has worked really well for me in keeping the digester warm. I also, just for safekeeping, put 3 moving blankets that I bought from Lowe's on top of it. And then that black thing is just an extra liner that came with the grow tent. This is just me. This is a video of me mixing the making the substrate, doing all the dirty work. And I strained it because you don't want rocks or anything to get it. And I got my poop donated from a kennel, so you know, they weren't perfect. I wasn't trying to make them be perfect, so there was a lot of pebbles in there that I had to take out. This is just temperature fluctuations that I was taking over. The top line is the probe that's inside of the digester tank taking the temperatures over time. I was just showing what I believe is microbial activity making the digester tank get warmer. And then this is just a picture of me taking a pH test that I bought from just one of the local garden stores here in Anchorage. And then, so this is the first 4 trials of burning gas that I showed because I thought they were the most important. The first one is just me burning it to show that it's working. And then the second, third, and fourth is when I tried to quantify like how much methane there was. The second trial we burned for 30 minutes, third one was for an hour, and then the fourth trial I burned for 2 hours. All off of 30 pounds of dog poop. Yeah, that is it. Oh, this is why I think we can apply it to Lost Native Villages, why I think we could apply it to dog parks in not only like cities, but in towns. And then those are my resources. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You are using a heating device?
Yeah, I am using these seedling heating mats. So the like what you use to start your seeds off of, that you can buy at a garden store, and then I'm using this aquarium heating probe. I haven't had to use, so these seedling heating mats, they're not always going. They're at 97 degrees. Once they hit that temperature, they'll turn off. So they're not all, both of the aquarium probes and the seedling mats, they're not always going. Yeah, the temperature has been able to be very consistent. I'm really happy with it.
And aquarium probes are, this is not something I'm familiar with, and it may not be familiar to everyone else in the group too. Those are sort of heating rods you stick into a tank of water for your fish.
Yeah. Yep. And I went with titanium ones because I thought that I wasn't 100% sure how the microbes would react with some of the other heating probes that were out there. So I decided to go with titanium, and it's worked really well for me because it's been easy to clean. I do have to clean them off periodically because a lot of biofilm likes to collect on there over time.
Jasmine, were you able to isolate how much energy the seed mats used?
Yes. Yeah, I could actually show that to you. Can you still see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we can see the screen.
I did my best. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of resources that I had when I was doing this project, but I did. So this was my best shot at trying to kind of quantify how much energy the entire thing was taking, just because I know that that's kind of an important factor when you're trying to just get people to use it. And this is what I came up with. Can you see the
Yes.
kilowatt? And like I said, this is just what I got off of if they're running at full capacity 24/7, but they're not. So this was my best guess as to how much, if they were running at full capacity, is what you would be using.
But is this during like average over the course of the project, or?
Oh, this is just in a day. This would be just in 24 hours what this would be. Yeah, sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, this is just in a day. I have not been able to I haven't been able to do that. But APU hasn't said that their energy bill their electricity bill has gone up a lot, so I'm gonna assume that it hasn't taken too much. I think.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for looking at my project.
Thanks so much for sharing on short notice. It's very cool and exciting, and all sorts of new info that we have. Wonderful. Jane, thank you for joining us. I don't even think we actually have Jasmine. I mean, I know that you've been around for some meetings, so you've probably introduced yourself before, but maybe we can use the excuse of Jane joining for you to explain who you are and what the project is in what the context is for that.
Yeah, my name's Jasmine, born and raised in Alaska. I just graduated with my BS in environmental public health from APU, which is why I was doing that undergraduate research, my anaerobic digestion. The reason why I first got interested in anaerobic digestion is because I was introduced to the honey buckets and just sewage lagoons. So I started digging around trying to find a solution, and I strongly believe that anaerobic digestion can create some of those solutions for Alaska. I'm going to continue working on anaerobic digestion with microaeration and bioelectrochemical anaerobic digestion sewage treatment in the engineering program at Kansas University. But yeah, so I've actually been a part of this group for a while now. Been pretty quiet. This is the first time I showed my research project, and I've been having it for a year, but super excited to be a part of this. And yeah, a little bit about me. Nice to meet you.
Wonderful, thank you.
And
Wonderful.
that's
Super cool project.
Jasmine, were you here when Jaime was showing that the monitors that you can purchase?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe show those again.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Are you gonna? I mean, can you share your screen again and show Jasmine what you were showing? But
The gas meters?
Yeah, the gas meters.
I don't know, he might have closed that tab.
Well, I'm super excited while we wait for the gas meters to show up about the dog waste, because I feel like two things that people are always telling me, you can't do anaerobic digestion in cold weather and you can't do dog waste. And I've always been like,
You
not sure.
cannot only do dog waste. It has a
Okay.
really high ammonia content. But
Okay.
if you commingle it with stuff, that's fine.
Okay.
You can't it's not good to only do dog waste. Because I feel like I'm probably one of those people who says, no, you can't do that, Margaret. Just like life, it's better to have a diverse array of things and not just a monoculture.
and Jaime, I don't know if you were aware that you were on mute, but I maybe you can just explain what you showed, because Jasmine wasn't able to hear. So if I can just relate, I think he said that that's what he uses, and it's around what, $60
Yes, this kind of I don't know how to say in English. Is this thing that measure the flux of biogas. It costs only around 60 or something like that dollars here in Ecuador. I think it should be something similar in United States. And we use those to measure the biogas in any digester in the field. So you have to connect this this thing just to, I'm gonna share again, this thing to the biogas pipe. Later you need a place to get some amount of pressure that is just putting the pipe inside the water in a bottle. So you will get some amount of pressure to move this device when the biogas goes through this device. And it's measuring all the time. It's analogical, so it's very cheap, it's very easy. And you can go every day or every week just to take the number that is registered. And you can calculate how much amount of biogas are you producing in the last days. We have been using this for, I don't know, for more than 15 years. Also, on Friday, I have to move to a village just here that they have a small digesters in the toilets. and we are gonna install 2 of them, or these ones, in 2 families for the digesters to see how much biogas they are producing. Yesterday I was there just measuring how much water they are using for the toilets and for the shower.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
So we do have some new
I mean-
installations. Very cool. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, so you're gonna digest the sewage, but also the gray water from the shower as well?
In my case, the gray water used to go to the wetland, directly to a wetland. And we build the wetland. For a family, it's very small. It's about 2 square meters unit. Is very small. In my house, I have also a wetland in my house for the gray water, and we have a washing machine. We are 4 people that every day we have a shower. So, and it's enough. We have a lot of plants growing there, and it's working. You have to have control of the fat, because you can have a lot of fat. Fat is the name, yes.
Yeah.
Going inside the wetland, so you have to do a thing that take out the fat before the gray water go to a wetland.
Mhm. So the shower water is not going to the digesters you're installing, it's just the sewage, like just the black water?
No, because it's only water. No,
Yeah.
the digester is only connected to the toilets.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Um,
Are we finished?
maybe? I don't know.
Okay, I just wanted to comment that in June I was in Greenland. I also met Lynn and Fatima there. For me, it was incredible because you can see there what is the challenge of this topic, because everything gets really frozen during the winter. I think they have a similar situation than in Alaska with these honey buckets. Also in some villages, they have pipes that they have to heat these pipes to go with the liquid water to the sea, because there is no single wastewater treatment plant in Greenland. And for me, it was incredible because you can see and touch what's going on with this kind of toilets. For me, was very interesting also the possibility to use dry toilets, real dry toilets, very similar to those that John has shown us before. I think it's also a very good proposal. The problem is what to do with this dry manure, but I think we can combine it with a digester also.
Yeah, and Simone was there as well. She's on the call.
Yeah, it was a great trip. I learned so much there. It was yeah, really interesting. We should have our next meeting there.
I mean, I was being more involved on the collection side. You know, we were really fascinated by the honey bucket collection and the honey bucket bags and how that whole process worked. And it was actually pretty cool. Just very different. And not very different, but you know.
What's
really
different?
It was very exciting.
They had improvements with their honey bucket kind of bag collection, how they deal with that, you know, that I think we could improve on in Alaska.
Yeah, in fact, I've got a bag here. I'll go get it and I'll show it just a sec.
Because I do feel like that's kind of a spot in this process that I guess I'm kind of leaning on John Warren's toilets because I don't know. It's super important, and yet I don't know how we're gonna work on that. Ooh, look at that! Look at that!
Nice.
These are toilets that they have in the countryside for the people who is doing trekking along Greenland. And they are just dry toilets. They are working, but they don't know what to do later with the stuff once it is filled. So there are more. I will try to show you more. This is how they look inside. This is sorry. This is here in Ecuador. Let me go ahead. I will show you only the Greenland things. Chan, chan, chan. Okay, this is Greenland. This is Kangerlussuaq, where here there were around 500 people living, and all the wastewater goes directly to this river. You can see here the pipe. The pipes they use are insulated, and also they are heated. They use water heated to heat the pipes. Here they call this place the chocolate fabric, because they came here to with the honey bucket stuff, and they throw it directly to the river. Later we moved to Sisimiut. This is Sisimiut. 5,000 people is living here. It's very beautiful. And they not all the houses have water. They have to go to these small houses to take drinkable water. All the houses have outside oil tank. That for me was strange, but they spent a lot of oil during the winter to heat all the houses and to heat everything. All the wastewater pipes are outside because they try to build all the houses over the stones, the rock. So all the pipes are outside. You can see them. They are also insulated. And this is the chocolate fabric at the end of this village. And here goes everything without treatment. And they collect also from tanks that they have behind, at the bottom of the houses. They collect all the wastewater from these tanks, and they bring this wastewater by truck to this house, and they throw it again to the sea. And also the honey buckets that they have. Also, there are some families that use honey buckets in Sisimiut. They take all these honey buckets, all these bags to this place, and they cut it and they throw it again to the sea. Okay, these are some. I think I have. I don't know. Yes, I think I have some more pictures. Let me see. This is from Bolivia. Sorry. Ecuador.
No reason to apologize. These are all really cool. I love seeing all of these.
Let me go to Alaska and I will show you all this.
Yay!
Okay, here it is. But I don't have the other pictures. They have a small Finnish. I don't know how to say the people who is from Finland. They had a toilet from Finnish. No, it's the name.
Yeah.
The people from Finland. They have a toilet, very interesting. I will try to find it. Yes. Here, this one. This is a toilet in the middle of the countryside. This is in the middle of a trek that you can go walking for 9 days along this Arctic place, and you can find this kind of toilets. This is a proposal from Finland, and I like it. It's beautiful. and you can go inside. Here you can see the toilet. It's a dry toilet, and behind it is only this kind of tank. It is I don't know, it's sorry. Yeah. So all the stuff goes inside this tank, but they have problems because they don't know what to do again once this tank is full. So we were proposing two alternatives. One is to feed a digester with this stuff that is collected in the tank, or the other alternative is to do dry composting. It's like just throw it out because it's very dry outside, and we think you can do like superficial composting. I don't know how to say superficial composting in English, something like that. So this is another kind of toilet they had. This, you have to go upstairs to sit on this place, and just behind us in the bottom of this place you have this kind of tanks that they are using. But also again, the problem that they have for these treks is that nobody's gonna take care of these toilets, so they don't know how to maintain these toilets in the countryside. But there are alternatives. And we were working with the students to see possibilities to introduce toilets with digesters in these conditions. This is the people who we met there. Here is Lynn. I don't find Fatima, but this Fatima around here in some place, I don't know where. So
This is the Arctic Wash.
this is more or less
that
what we did.
Pernil's runs.
Yeah.
Yes, Pernil is here. I don't know.
There's
Yes, he's
Pernil,
here.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was strange because most of the people were women. We were only 4 or 3 men in the team.
How it should be.
No. So that was everything. Yes.
Oh,
That is.
No, I'm going to show that.
So I think it's very interesting.
yeah, very
Sorry?
interesting.
I'll just show real quickly that the honey bucket bag. And you guys can see it's big, it's thick, it's and it was sort of like standard there. So everyone had kind of the same thing, but they I don't have it with me right now. They had these like how would you describe it, Simone? Was
Yeah, these sort of a wire tie, and then a tool that you can get off Amazon that you essentially, you know, just hook this wire to pull it, and then it twists it really tight. So it's a sturdy bag and a very tight closure.
right.
So, you know, which is nice for reducing spillage. And then, you know, we saw kind of a video in action of someone in really nice PPE head to toe taking the bag and sort of putting it on a slope, and then cutting the bag, and then you're just kind of left with holding the top of it with the tie. Yeah, we really wanted to kind of show that at the next conference in Alaska, just as an alternative. And I still need to purchase one of those tools, Lynn, on Amazon. But yeah.
And
So
for folks that don't know too, it's like the normal honey, we have people normally do honey bucket bags, and there can be different bags that are used, but you kind of tie them yourself like this. And if you can imagine the difference between that versus a tie around here, pulled tight, that can really reduce that pathogen contact. And then also the piece with the operators, they had good jobs. The jobs were treated as if they were important to the community, and they were paid. They were actually paid at the district level, versus actually at the small village level, but they had, you know, benefits and all that kind of thing. So we heard a couple people say, I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal to have a honey bucket, and that is huge. You know, here, so I think, you know, there's a whole lot to be learned from the collection side there. It was really, really interesting, and it's gonna see very exciting.
I would like to add to that. Yeah, Simone, Lynn, and I, we were all about drawing parallels and, you know, finding what things we might want to suggest it for our context in Alaska. And yeah, I was really hung up on this tiny tool that they use to secure these bags and avoid that exposure, that pathogen pathway, right? When the honey bucket operator is handling these things. But another take on that is that because there is no enforcing agency or like rules, regulations that they have to follow, there is no treatment. They just toss these bags, and these are like hard, sturdy plastic bags that who knows how long it will take to degrade. And over there, they build the terrain they have to build on is boulders. They don't have any other terrain, and so they don't have the sewage lagoon issues that we have in honey bucket communities, where the honey bucket lagoons are, how do you say, a lot of bag accumulation has caused issues and broken the lagoon. So I'm not sure if that using that particular type of bags that might not ever degrade would be helpful in the honey bucket lagoons that we have. So that was a concern I had.
Yeah.
And I was also very focused on the social aspect and asking questions, sometimes asking way too many questions to locals of how they perceive all this, you know, sanitation in general. And it was interesting to find that basically honey bucket operators were unionized, right? These were very secure jobs. And if you found someone committed to the position, they were going to be there for a long time. But I also heard the other side where it is so hard. Like folks, they know it's a good job, but they just don't want the job. And that may be one of those cultural aspects where male roles are still, you know, focused on other type of positions, work positions, not, and they don't necessarily want to fill those jobs for honey bucket operators. And so those are a couple of things that just came through my mind as I was hearing Lynn.
Yeah, and the bags there, actually, they don't go out to the ocean, but that's a whole other piece. Like the waste there, they collect them, and I mean, either they bail them, but at some point their whole waste system is going to be switching to incineration, waste to energy, to kind of and vax distribute just a 6,000 person population. That's kind of, they are converting their current incinerator, which is completely over capacity and not really up to standard, to that. But so they have a system of collecting bags, so they don't actually go out to the ocean. But of course, right now with the communities that we work with, that probably would happen. That's exactly where they go. So the lagoons.
Yeah, and it would be great to share that video. We were so interested in how they, you know, they slit those bags open. So they just have the waste going into it. Doesn't look like a fancy hut, but you know, it could be implemented in certain communities if there is the interest over here in Alaska. But yeah, that's true. The bags don't go directly into the ocean, but that might be the case in some of our communities here.
No,
We have a video of that we can share eventually.
One of the things that I've been encouraging is separating the solids and the liquids. There's two ways you can do it. One is to use a separating seat, which most people have to become accustomed to. That's a steep learning curve. The other option is to simply choose to pee somewhere else. And you know, if you think about a kitchen trash bag, I mean, do you dump your wash water into your trash bag? Do you dump grease into your trash bag and then try to haul it away? But that's what we're doing with honey buckets. And you know, in the majority, 90% of the weight is urine, and you know, 10% of the weight is solids. And so you know, you're hauling a bag that's not designed to hold liquid, full of liquid. You know, and if you take urine, for example, I mean, I would say that the concern from a public health standpoint is really about the gray water. It's really less about, as far as public health and contamination, the urine itself. The urine is not really contaminated unless somebody has some kind of a disease or something like that, urinary tract infection or whatever. But you know, it's not sterile, but it's not something that's going to spread disease like you know, black water or feces will. But at any rate, we've installed about 500 PASS systems now across the state and 15 communities. We're getting a lot of really positive feedback on the toilets themselves. And I think there's some promise here, you know, for household-based methane digesters. Based on what I heard today, it sounds like this is something that's feasible, something that's desirable. And if we can develop a product that homeowners can, you know, I think it's problematic from a community, if we try to roll this in a community-based type of thing, simply because of the solid waste, the trash that's going to find its way into the digester with, you know, standard honey buckets. But at a household level, somebody can really pay attention to what's going in there to make sure that it has a nice, clean product that, you know, is going into the digester. Anyway, just wanted to let you know where we're at and, you know, in what, from the NTHC standpoint, and where we're encouraging non-served homes to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure how useful it would be in, oh, when are you trying to? I don't know how useful it would be in Alaska, but I know at the University of Michigan, they've had a big project going on for a while. The whole Department of Environmental Engineering has urine diverting toilets. And they use the urine actually to produce fertilizer. And it produces like a high quality fertilizer that they can then sell or use, you know, on campus crops and stuff like that. But potentially you could be producing like a value added product from the urine and then separating the feces and digesting those separately.
Yeah, there's obviously concern about nitrate contamination of groundwater sources if people are dumping urine on the ground. But if in a coastal community, when you're looking at brackish water, there's really not a resource there to, you know, to protect. And so there's very little concern over nitrate contamination. You know, granted, the regulatory agencies will have to evolve to at some level to think outside the box, so to speak. But I think there are opportunities definitely for the urine. And if there was a way to recycle it, to use it as a fertilizer, that would be fantastic. But in Alaska, of course, that's not something, there's not a lot of agriculture going on in the villages, so to speak.
As a regulator, it's helpful to have a situation that's or could be happening to like work with. So tell us what the thing that needs to happen, so then we can work on the exemption or whatever. So
well, sorry, talking about the urine, I don't know if you touched the topic.
No.
It can be regulated to recover the nitrogen in a shape of estrubite. It's a mineral that can be recollected and can be used as fertilizer. So this idea is really good to separate the feces with the urine, take the feces for methane production, and take the urine to precipitate the estrubite and use posteriorly as a fertilizer. I don't know if this can be having into account on the design of the honey bucket, or maybe in the treatment of the wastes. In our laboratory, we have been working in the recovery of distribute from cattle manure as digestate. So we are recovering the nitrogen and the phosphorus from the digestate and using as fertilizer. It can be used. It can be an alternative for the urine too. I don't know. For example, there is an enterprise in Europe that they sell beer. So the business model is they go to festivals, they put the honey bucket, they recollect the urine, and they precipitate the extrovite and use this extrovite as fertilizer for the crops to produce the beer. So this is another alternative. As you say, in Alaska there is no crops, but it can be recollected and storage for something else, or even for selling.
I've always been curious about, and Jane and Jaime, y'all can help me with this, because I mean, we've been hearing about urine diverting toilets, but what is actually the process for extraction? Because I want to be cognizant of like what is the infrastructure need to convert urine into the product? Is it distillation? Is it drying? I would like, can you give me like a broad brush of what the technology is exactly for conversion? Because I'm shamefully ignorant of like the actual getting from pee to product here.
And then we can hear from Fatima and John about whether the infrastructure and the folks they're working with would be able to manage that. So yes, okay, sorry, go, Jaime.
Yes, this is, actually, I think this is easy because you just need make a reaction, adding magnesia to the urine. So the magnesia reacts with the nitrogen and it forms a solid and gets in the bottom of the recipient that you are recovering it. It happens in our livers because actually the calculus in our livers are extrovite. So this is a simple process. You just need some stirring and using the additives to the precipitation.
What form is the magnesium in? Is it magnesium hydroxide? Is it magnesium? What is the actual?
Oxide is possible.
Oxalate.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's cheaper and it presents more advantages because it doesn't precipitate another compounds. So it can reach higher purity of the extrovite.
Okay, cool.
I've heard too that it's just stored up to 6 months and then spread directly on the fields in the liquid form as well.
Yeah, speaking as someone who has had to deal with stored urine and the anaerobic, it had like sat in a 4-degree fridge in a giant jar capped for months in a 4-degree, and I've dealt with some pretty nasty stuff. That was eye-watering, literally eye-watering to have to deal with urine that had gone anaerobic. Oh my God. So I don't know that I want to subject anybody to that. But I take your point. It's very simple, but oh my gosh, yiker patikers.
Gross.
It was gross.
Yeah. I just put a link to publication on the life cycle assessment of what they were doing at the University of Michigan. So I know that at the University of Michigan, in order to get permission to do this, to actually apply the fertilizer, they ended up having to like pasteurize the urine to get rid of any potential pathogens. So that definitely adds big energy consuming step to the process. But I think they kind of, there's some different ways that they use the urine to produce some kind of fertilizer. I'm not sure that they were actually producing struvite in any of these systems. I think they were making, it was more of a liquid at the end, at least from what I saw when I was there. And the urine diverting toilets were just, it's just kind of the way that the bowl is structured, actually, that the pee is like captured in the front.
Yeah.
And then the poo goes at the back down a hole, and then the urine can be collected through a different pipe. But I mean, compared to like if we think about honey buckets and that it's literally just like a seat on a bucket, that is a little more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure, you know, it would be something that people would have to be invested in and want to do, but they could probably do it if people had that sense of investment in separating urine and feces.
You know, and what I was talking about was obviously when you go poop, a lot of times you pee as well. But then if you choose the rest of the day to pee elsewhere, that would drop the liquid volume a considerable amount.
Yeah.
And if these are constantly ventilated, then a lot of that moisture that does get deposited when you deposit solids is extracted simply through evaporation. It's not completely dry, but it's not wet either.
And I would offer that from a user perspective, that would be what our friend Jaime was saying. It would be adding another step to the operation of separating toilet. And I think that's a lot to ask, but some households may be prepared to engage in that, especially households that are already operating past systems. You know, they have been introduced to this technology and they've been running it for months, if not years. And some of those households might be open to adding another step. But upfront, that's a lot of tasks, and I just believe if there was a centrally organized, like an operation staff for that might be possible.
Yeah, I think the key thing is people would need to see the benefit for it, right? In order to buy into it.
And when you say central, do you mean central
Like
in the community?
Community-wide organized group or staff that's dedicated to adding, you know, the additives or whatever needs to happen to eventually manage that waste more effectively, more safely. And if the regulator was buying the fertilizer for the community, that for sure would engage them.
And you know, if you don't know, the past system, at least one style of the system has seepage pits, and the seepage pits are basically to allow percolation of gray water and urine. And in coastal areas, you know, DEC hasn't taken issue with you know, the very small amounts of waste that are being deposited. And so that's as far as the separation goes. I mean, that's how the liquid portion is being handled. If you know, I think the benefit to the homeowner is that you reduce the weight that you have to haul by, say, 90%. You reduce the volume maybe by 80%. And you know, and that's that in itself, especially if there's 10 people in the home, can really be an added benefit.
All right, well, we covered everything on the agenda. New installations, new research. This is great. Emery, what do you think? Any words of wisdom for us as we go into the new fiscal year for the US government? Haha.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, like, I think we need to,
Oh, that's true. It's possible I may not be able to attend in October if our whole government shuts down, but let's hope that that doesn't happen. Sorry, never mind. Go on, continue.
don't get me started. Action items?
So Sarah's not here, but if it's, I think it's clear that we need to reserve that block at the Westmark downtown. So if that's something that needs to happen and you need someone to do that, unless there has already been a conversation with the hotel, I can help start that conversation.
My sense is there has not been a conversation, so that'd be awesome if you did. Yeah.
Okay, if I could get in a number of rooms.
So I think we're supposed to figure, I think we're supposed to know by the 1st of October how many.
Yeah, that's right. I think everyone's supposed to get their stuff into Robin by the 1st, and then we'll tally it up.
Okay.
But that would be great to get your help if you are able to
yeah, I can do that
on the Westmark.
And then I've helped organize conferences before, and sometimes it helps to, even at the very early stages, for public outreach, because we want to get folks participating, to put together like a very preliminary agenda of what our discussions by day might look like. So if we could maybe work on that, we can have that posted on the collaborations website, which I'm sorry, but I don't have access.
Yeah, we've got that. I think Robin
Yeah.
sent that.
Robin sent that out, but I'm trying to find the email right now.
And I need to work with IRPIC
Sorry, is
on
that
getting
a site that everybody could like if you were sharing about this meeting, is that anybody can click on and look at?
So anyone in the community of practice can post to the IRPIC community of practice group. That's the Interagency Arctic Research something that is hosting this call and other parts. And so I'm supposed to work with them, or I've assigned myself to work with them on developing a more outward facing webpage for the event. But yeah, gotta do that.
Talks about that. Robin sent an email that titled "Chat event is now March 2024" on the.
Yeah, I just forwarded it to you, Fatima, and it's got the agenda in there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And how do I get access to this IR website?
How do you get to the IRPIC community of practice?
Yeah, I went to the website, but I couldn't log in. Maybe I lost that email with the login information.
I'll put it in the chat, and then I'll put Liz Weinberg, because her whole job is to help us with this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not just us, but
Thank you.
so she's always happy to help people sort out their IRPIC accounts.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
there
of course.
I'll get myself set up. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a rough agenda. Okay, anything else you would want me to get going since I'm here in Fairbanks?
I mean, I guess maybe if you want to chat with Sarah more about the what poo to use question. I don't. Max here at the Office of Research and Development has opinions, but it's really, what works in Fairbanks. He's in Cincinnati. So, yeah.
Okay. And then when we first began, I just had 2 ideas because there were folks asking about what fun things to do for spouses or for attendants themselves. There's the Chino Hot Springs Resort that people have talked about that too. But there is also this U.S. Army Corps of Engineer facility that has a permafrost tunnel, and it requires some organization and some clearance because, at least for internationals, for non-U.S. citizens, it would require at least a month in advance clearance for people to go in and tour the actual permafrost. They have a very cool research-oriented tour of what permafrost is, how it works, and what's good and what's wrong about it. So, and that's not too far out of here, Fairbanks.
It was
That
on,
sounds
30 minutes
wonderful.
drive.
on Nova. I saw that tunnel on some Nova,
Okay,
and it was
there you
like,
go.
yeah, it was so cool because
Yeah.
it's like 20,000-year-old plants just like in the wall of the tunnel.
Mhm.
And it's so
Yeah, pretty
cool.
cool.
I
Yeah,
mean, I've
we
only
just
seen it on TV. So
wear warm clothes. And then yes, they may even have gear for you, I'm not sure. But then I don't know, I'm sorry, I hadn't been keeping real close track of what we're all doing, but I didn't know that we were already almost at the point where we were pilot testing something here in town. So my other suggestion was going to be how about we talk to the Tulik folks? There's that Tulik research station. It's a pretty cool, crazy mad scientist station, and they have this, like the picture that Jaime showed us about the Finnish toilets. They have their tower toilets, and below the toilet they have separating toilets. I thought I heard, and they're collecting the waste there, and it's a remote research station, so they self-generate their power, they haul their water in and their wastewater out. So that would be and they're all about research. So if we, start conversations with them, they might, it would be another venue to find readily available waste for them to be, instead of, them paying the transport. And it's just up the whole road. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but the whole road is all the way from here, Fairbanks, to the very Arctic Ocean, where the pipeline, the North Slope oil exploration and operations are happening. So the roads are nasty. They're like whole roads, and I'm sure they might be interesting to having a conversation about pilot testing there too.
That would be wonderful. Yes,
know,
please.
You can't just show up there, because I was also thinking, oh, maybe a tour to a research station. You can't just show up. You have to show up there because you have a research agenda. But, maybe as part of this conference, if we have conversations already going, they might take a small number of visitors to have conversations on site.
Yay!
Okay.
Thank
That
you.
was it. Thank you so much. I know we've gone over time, I believe.
No, I think we've got 3 minutes, but we should, I think,
okay,
give you them back. Thank you so much. This
Thank
is
you,
awesome.
Embry.
And,
all right.
Exciting.
Yeah.
It's all real. It's very cool.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll be in touch. Bye.